Senate vote on President Biden's social spending and climate bill likely won't take place until after the new year. The president says he will take the next couple of weeks to continue negotiations over the roughly $2 trillion package. Democrats are now focusing on voting rights. Natalie Brand has the latest from Capitol Hill.
President Biden returned to the state that helped propel him to the White House, delivering the commencement address at Congressman Jim Clyburn's alma mater, South Carolina State University.
I'm here to congratulate you, but also to let you know that your country, and this is not hyperbole, is counting on you. They're counting on you.
The president and Senate Democrats are reiterating emphasis on voting rights legislation, while other legislative priorities remain stalled ahead of Christmas.
We must pass the Freedom to Vote Act and the John Lewis Voting Rights Act. We must. And we're going to keep up the fight until we get it done.
But to pass voting rights in the 50-50 Senate, lawmakers would likely have to make a significant rule change to move forward with just a simple majority.
Changing the structure of the Senate in order to try to achieve a partisan advantage is a mistake for the Senate and a mistake for the country.
Some moderate Democrats have also expressed reluctance to change the Senate's filibuster rules.
It would be a permanent change, and it could be one that could be used against someone in the future. So they're measuring it in both directions. But the conversation is very active and very productive.
As for the plan to pass the Democratic social spending and climate bill before leaving for the holidays, the White House acknowledges that likely won't happen until next year. In a statement, the president said he and his team are continuing to have discussions with West Virginia Senator Joe Manchin, a key Democratic vote, but a source familiar tells CBS News those talks have been going poorly, with the two Democrats far apart. Natalie Brand, CBS News, Capitol Hill.
A key provision of the president's social spending bill includes paid family leave, but that may be heading for the chopping block. Nancy Cordes reports on how it could impact working parents here in the U.S.
Molly Moon's is an ice cream chain in Seattle. It's named after its founder, who had an epiphany after giving birth in 2013.
Oh my gosh, I needed to stay home for about 12 or 13 weeks.
It was then and there that Molly decided to provide paid family leave to all 200 of her employees.
The first person to take paid family leave to have a baby was actually my executive assistant, and I've retained her and so many other Moon Crew members for far longer than they thought they would stay at an ice cream company because of paid family leave.
But her business is far from the norm. Just 23% of U.S. workers get paid leave from their employers. Just 6 states and D.C. guarantee it. And Nevada, where Kelsey Daniels lives, isn't one of them.
I don't have any paid parental leave at this point.
Daniels had a baby boy last month and is depleting her savings in order to stay home for 12 weeks, time she says she needs to heal.
I do have a very physical job as a physical therapist. The quality of the work that I would provide to the families wouldn't be the same.
More than 180 countries now guarantee workers between 4 and 12 weeks of paid leave. The U.S. is an outlier.
The United States is falling further behind other high economies in terms of the number of women working, in terms of women's salaries and earnings.
The president's Build Back Better plan initially included 12 weeks of guaranteed paid leave. Senate Democrats pared it back to 4 weeks to try to win support from holdout Joe Manchin. But he wants it cut out completely.
Paid leave, I think, should not be in this piece of legislation. I've been very clear.
Now, President Biden is signaling he might be able to live without it.
Would you sign it if it doesn't contain paid family leave?
I will sign it, period.
Nancy Cordes joins me now from the White House with more. Hi there, Nancy. As you say in your reporting, the U.S. is an outlier when it comes to paid family leave. If it's scrapped from President Biden's Build Back Better plan, could it live on in separate legislation in a way that actually gets passed?
I mean, technically that's possible, but it's pretty unlikely. You know, the bill that the White House is advancing right now does not have any Republican support. if it passes and Democrats succeed in getting a $1.7 trillion in spending, Republicans are certainly going to be in no mood to approve another benefit. Beyond that, Democrats and the few Republicans who do support federally guaranteed paid leave, they don't agree on how long that leave should last, how it should be structured. So there are a lot of barriers to getting this plan into a new piece of bipartisan legislation. Now, Joe Manchin says that's what he wants. He says if you're going to create a big new benefit like this, it should be bipartisan so that the two parties can work together to maintain it going forward. And what his Democratic colleagues are arguing is that that's just not realistic. It's not going to happen. This is the only vehicle to make it happen. So that's the argument that is happening right now behind closed doors.
Nancy, I also want to ask you about something that has bipartisan support among the public, but not so much there in Congress. Democrats are aiming for a one-year extension of the expanded child tax credit in their social spending package. But lawmakers have signaled that they don't have a backup plan to extend the monthly payments before they expire this month.
Right.
So if the legislation's not passed until next month, could families still end up receiving a payment for January?
They could, but what Democrats would have to do would be to alter their legislation to basically make sure that families got two payments in February to make up for the one payment they're going to miss in January. These are pretty significant payments. Keep in mind, it's $300 a month per child. This is something that many lower-income families have come to rely on. The White House argues that many, many children have been lifted out of poverty because of these increased child tax credits. But again, Joe Manchin is arguing, A, these are very expensive, and B, if Congress continues to give out these increased tax credits for another year, you run the risk of people expecting that they're going to become permanent. And he argues that that is just something that is too expensive. So yet again, you've got Democrats, the White House, the president, all talking with Manchin. It seems like the president and Manchin talk on the phone on a near daily basis at this point to try to hammer out some kind of agreement. It's clearly not going to happen before the holidays, so now they're looking at January at the earliest.
Well, President Biden also has another big thing on his plate that has nothing to do with Build Back Better. Nancy, I want to ask you about the rising tensions in Eastern Europe. Russia is now demanding that the U.S. and NATO deny Ukraine and other ex-Soviet countries membership into the alliance. Russia is also asking for a rollback in military deployments. How is the Biden administration responding to these proposals?
Well, NATO reacted very swiftly to this demand from Russia that was put in writing. It said basically, no way. NATO is not going to agree to have its hands tied in that way. But the White House was a little more circumspect. Jake Sullivan, the president's national security advisor, was giving a talk, and he basically said, look, we're willing to negotiate with the Russians. We've been talking with them for quite some time. We'll continue those talks. It's clear that Russia has major concerns about Ukraine continuing to turn toward the West and what that could mean for Russia's security situation. And the White House seems to understand that they are going to have to find some way to accommodate those concerns by Russia if they're going to diffuse tensions. Now, does that mean agreeing to these demands that Ukraine not be allowed to enter NATO? Probably not. Hard to see White House officials ever agreeing to that. But they say they are talking with the Russians and looking to smooth these tensions over and get some of these Russian troops moved away from the Ukraine border any way they can.
Yeah, interesting, too, that it's not just Ukraine, but it's sort of a blanket on any former Soviet states. Nancy Cordes there at the White House. Thanks so much.
You're welcome.